Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh. You are just watching Global Governance News TV. And today we are going to discuss the role of opposition parties, government, and politics. Uh, Either in India or any part of the world, we know. So today we'll discuss with Dr. R.P. Bhatt, a scholar and social scientist from Germany. Welcome, Dr. Bhatt, and Vandana Jhingan, uh, senior journalist and social activist from the Chicago, and Anita Choudhary ji, senior journalist and political analyst from India, Bharat. So, if you see the role of opposition and democracy are interrelated and can't be separated from each other. Opposition is the very breath and soul of a democracy, and therefore role and significance of opposition in parliamentary democracy can neither be exaggerated nor downplayed. Treasury benches and the opposition are two faces of parliamentary democracy, and one is incomplete without the other. A strong, constructive, viable, as well as a reformative opposition can play an important role in democratic functioning and governance. One can't be think of a successful democracy without a strong, united, and constructive opposition. Opposition works as watchdog of public interest in the democracy and keeps the ruling party on his toes and criticizes the policies and programs of the government, which they think they are not the consonance with the public good. Therefore, a strong and constructive opposition is necessary for a functioning of a government in democracy. But the only criterion is opposition should not be opposed for the sake of opposition, but should work for constructive opposition for the common good of people that we are lacking, not in India and different part of globe also. The opposition is not playing the role of the constructive opposition. Opposition works as check of the powers of the government in democracy. Sometimes it forces the ruling party to work as per the aspirations, opposition, and that true constructive one is important in a democracy. A ruling party and both of them should work for greater good for the public and the nation. It is so good that our just we say our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appreciated the role of opposition and asks it is not the worry about their numbers. It implies the position is very important to the Modi dispensation, irrespective of the numbers. As this concern, we are talking about the democracy of India. I will talk that globally and different countries how the opposition is playing the role, either the constructive or and destructive, and just only for opposition for opposed for the opposition. So democracy without a strong and constructive opposition becomes an authoritarian in nature and exceed the delineated jurisdiction, which is not in the interest of a democracy. In fact, the successful working of parliamentary as a strong and viable position is a must and is a responsibility of ruling party to respect the position for growth, development, and the flourishing of democracy. The steady benches and opposition two faces of same coin, and one is incomplete without the other. In the successful democracy of the world, opposition is revered and respected, and its suggestions and criticism is taken into account. And so, in the India, as an opposition is held in high esteem, but the opposition should not criticize each and every action of government that is happening in the India. The forsake of the opposition, but should act for the constructive criticism which leads to growth of democracy and fulfillment of public good. That's why this is a, I think, vast subject, and how the role of opposition should be defined, and what the role should be there, great extent success of democracy as we discussed, and the party how just behaving, and if you see the opposition uh, role, the opposition's main role to question the government of the day and hold them accountable to the public. This also keeps to fix the mistakes of ruling party. The opposition is equally responsible in upholding the best interests of the people of the country. They have to ensure that the government does not take any steps which might have the negative effects on the people of the country. So, role of opposition, the constructive criticism, putting restrictions, the arbitrariness of the ruling party, safeguarding the liberty and right people, preparation to form the government, expressing the public opinion. This all the major roles as we discussed, and we want to always that. So today we are going to discuss the role of opposition party. So I start from Dr. R.P. Bhatt, Ram Bhatt. So how we think the India manner and global manner, the role of opposition uh, and the politics as far as the uh, governance.
Thank you, Rakesh. Can you hear
I
me?
need me to welcome Rakesh Tiwari ji. Just after a long time, we have seen.
Wow.
Yeah. So from the Canada. Thank you. Yeah.
Ji,
Please,
namaskar,
Doctor. Yeah.
Rakesh. Namaskar,
Yes.
everyone. Thanks for inviting me. Yes, well, the role of opposition, as is laid down in parliamentary democracies, such as in Germany, I can talk about Germany and India, that the task of the opposition is basically and traditionally to scrutinize the work of the governments, initiate debates about policies, and present some alternatives to the bills that are brought or forwarded by the government. The opposition, as the word itself says, means to oppose, and that is also the function of the opposition in a democracy. Oppositions, they have a duty towards the public, and they are the voice of the public whenever the governments, the ruling party, brings something that is not in the interest of the masses, in the public. So they have to prevent the injustice that could be done by the ruling party or one-sided decisions, but also to fight the dictatorial behaviors of any government or any decision. The interesting thing is that the opposition is allowed to oppose, but not to hinder. They should oppose the government debate within the house. And outside, it should look like that they are one and they are responsible towards the public which has actually elected them. This is unfortunately not visible very much in Indian Parliament. In Germany, of course, we don't see such kind of scenarios as in India. Just few days ago, we were watching, something happened in Indian Parliament where somebody from some regional party came, was tearing up some papers and throwing towards I think the president of the Lok Sabha or the chair, towards the chair. This would never happen in Germany. If such thing happened, I have noticed that once some liberal party, or let me say the left-wing party, they tried to do something, and the person or the MP was really sent out immediately. That means yes, they must be responsible. They must deliver their duties, and they must respect the government as well, because the government did not come itself. They are elected by the people, and only the majority, any party that gets the majority, is the ruling party. So that must be upheld, and the democracy, the values, the norms, the morality, this must be also upheld. So in a democracy, of course, everybody has the right to say whatever you want to say, raise the questions, but also maintain the linguistic decorum. This, unfortunately, is not visible in Indian Parliament, especially from some, opposition leaders. I mean, we are aghast when we read. By the way, I teach media in one class, and we use newspapers from India, and of course, whatever is new, we read that. So when we see this kind of scenario, I can tell you that the students, the Germans, they can't understand this behavior, because this does not happen in a civil, society. You need to be you need to be educated. You need to be role model for people. And if you are not yourself a role model, you are not upholding the value of the democracy that has been given to you, because it is really something great. Because not all over the world there are democracies, and people are allowed to speak out whatever They want this is something special, and this must be respected.
Sorry. So just you mentioned that this type of incident, whatever in India, I think we have seen the different part of world, not in India also. What is the just seen and just created by the opposition parties and other parties who want to just debate and just speak for the public and for the parties and whatever. So Vandana ji, how see the difference of the Indian parliamentary democracy and US parliamentary democracy? How can you differentiate? I
Namaskar.
have seen the Senate proceedings, and I also put my experiences after you.
Namaskar and good evening to everybody. They say India is a guru. To be honest, I can say that India has taught the world. At least India has taught the American Parliament when on February 4th, 2020, State of the Union was torn apart by Nancy Pelosi at that very time. That was the biggest mockery which has ever happened. Means it has never happened before, and everyone criticized that. Role of an opposition is very, very important, but an healthy opposition, which is, so for checks and balances. So no matter, even if it is a small opposition or it is a strong opposition, they should,
Nice word. Small and strong. Yeah, nice one.
but
Yeah.
they should play their duty due diligently, but not for the sake of make a mockery of this world, to be honest, and play with the taxpayers' money. It should be used in a concrete manner. Unless or until we will not do that, we will keep seeing this. Why are elected officials being sent to parliament to work for it? But every day, if you have walkouts, every day, if there are no healthy discussions, there are no debates, they do get paid for. And who's paying for? It is the taxpayers of that nation. They don't get paid to walk out. They do get paid to work for it. But are they doing that? Because sometimes they do have winter break, sometimes they do have summer break, sometimes they have rain break, whatever you call it. But how many days in real the work does take place? Because everybody has vacations like a leave. So if you go beyond, so there is a pay cut. Is that happening to member of parliaments? Because at that very time, let this be a ruling party and the opposition party of any world, when it is writing their own salary, raising salaries for them, they all come together. That time there is no opposition. So coming back to, because the role of opposition is very, very crucial, very, very important, and but a role with a responsibility. As we say, they do have a right to oppose, but they do have a duty, which they forget, especially in the context of India. I must say that, because which does not, in today's time. Earlier, you used to send me an envelope. It used to take me 3 weeks to 4 weeks to get it. But nowadays, what all is happening in the Parliament House, let this be Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha in Bharat, we are seeing it live. What kind of message does it gets in? The way they scream on, like, what are, we send them to the Parliament House not for this. They should be role models that we should be following it. That's what my submission is.
Okay. So Anita ji, just as mentioned by Vandana ji, I'll take also input from the how the US Senate and Parliament work. So this is also an issue. So just a moment. Welcome, Alok Lahad ji also from the Spain. So I think please correct your frame, Alok ji. Thank you. So Anita ji, how just in Indian Parliament, how the opposition is behaving nowadays and last 7 years, and forgetting their responsibility to be accountable. So how do you analyze it?
Looks in democracy, opposition is one of the most strong and important pillar of house. They are the representative of the people of the country to check and balance the act of the government in the house, how they are making the policy, and that policy which has framed by the government, is it on that manner that our people of that this country or any country they need it. If it is not, the role of opposition is they will inform and they will do discussion in house that this policy has this kind of loopholes and you have to look at these points and then do amendment and then apply it, either it's any law or any policy. But nowadays, if I will talk about India, you said that opposition is a watchdog. No, they are not behaving as a watchdog. Watchdog means you are doing some kind of constructive work. You are protecting, you are analyzing and sniffing that that work or that environment is secured and good for the mass. But you are whatever you are doing nowadays as an opposition, you are doing just for the sake of the power, and you are not even bothering that what we are the way we are behaving, it can be damage the sovereignty of the country, it can be give benefit to our enemy country, it may create lots of question on international forum, because as an opposition you are just an opposition in house, but out out of the house, when you are in public place, when you are representing the country, you are one, you are just an Indian, you are just an American, you are just an German, and whatever it is. So in my view, nowadays our opposition, actually they have lost the aim that what is their role and why the people of this country sent them in the house as an opposition. Opposition means you are the voice of this country, and you will speak whatever the mass of this country want to put their points in the house wherever the discussion or the session is going on. But we are seeing that nowadays our session is on, is formally it is on, but officially it is not going on. Every day the opposition is outside the house, has forced the speaker is forced to adjourn the house. We are not discussing about the upcoming policies. We are just discussing the few things that is satisfying the ego of the opposition, and this is the bad luck of this country that we have such kind of opposition. Thank you.
Okay, Anita, you have mentioned how the nowadays position in India, movable parties are behaving like that. They're not properly behaving. So I'll take from the Rakesh Tiwari ji, then Alok ji. I need a comparative study. I think you'll not react to what India is going on, but what is the best in the Canada and what should be best for the India for the opposition parties. I've been there. Your parliament also. I have seen the proceedings as well as same what India, the behavior and the protocol is maybe different. So how do you analyze the how do you comparatively just find in the system of the Indian democracy is good or the Canadian system is good? One. Number two, how the parliamentary democracy is behaving for the public in parliament. I unmute Tiwari ji, unmute yourself.
Yes.
Please, thank
Can you specify, because you asked two questions? What can you repeat again, please, for me?
My question is, how do you differentiate? Just how do you find the proceedings and opposition in Canadian Parliament is good
Compared to India?
compared to India?
Okay.
Simple question.
Well,
Leave the second question. No
okay.
problem.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Let me say this. Opposition is opposition. Opposition is not there to support the government. Opposition are there. Opposition is there to ask the questions. Ask the question, raise the question. They have it. Even when you mentioned about Canadian Parliament, right now we have a minority government in power, and even the very party which is supporting the government, they ask the questions too to the government, and they criticize them. They are supporting. They are not in power. Means they are not. They have not taken any portfolio in the ministry. They are supporting from outside. But I will say very rare some of the incidents which will happen like this that gets highlight means I meant that if some misbehaving. If you see that this is and this is my strong view on it. Uh, Watching Indian Parliament is watching like watching Indian TV. I don't know. Both are learning from each other. Means you cannot hear. Everybody is there to disrespect and each other and totally go out of topic. So nobody wants to hear anybody. They just want to shout. They just want to. I think that's how they have been trained. That's sad. When you go across the world, I'm not saying the Indian.
I'm sorry. I'm just. I want to know from you how in the Canada,
Yeah,
as the
that's what I'm.
Ontario
That's what I'm.
Parliament and all,
Yeah, let me say.
how they are behaving
Okay,
now.
so in Canada means the scene which we see in Indian Parliament, not only from today. I will say when the BJP was in Parliament too, opposition, they were walking out, they were making the hoo-ha as well too. So I'm sorry about it. Okay,
No,
we're all doing.
Tiwari,
But
walking out.
in Canadian Parliament, it doesn't happen like that.
I'm adding. I try to add your facts.
Yeah.
Just add your fact. Walking out and raise the questions.
No, raising question is fine, but making the noise, going in the well.
Sir, going to well also is not out of the parliamentary democracy. Just
Sir,
I
why
just
I am
try to
feeling that
you.
my host and anchor
please.
is supporting BJP? You are
Sir, sir, now today BJP is not going to well. Okay, I'm talking the nowadays.
okay.
So or I'm talking of the parliamentary
Yeah,
democracy.
absolutely. What they are doing, the opposition is
Sir,
doing. That's
actually
totally wrong. They should not do
going
like
to-
that.
Sir,
And no,
whatever-
in Canada we don't accept it
That's
at
okay. Thank
all.
you, sir.
No,
Thank you, sir.
but let while you interjected, let me complete my point. This is a bigger point than this.
Please.
I think it's not my job to just only criticize, but to give some solution too. I think before any parliament begins, all the new parliamentarians, along with the old parliamentarians, there should be what manner should be parliament should be functioning, and they should be responsible towards it when they are wasting the time in the parliament over there. There should be stricter punishment.
When you
There
complete,
should be
I'll
stricter
add you.
punishment.
When you
And
complete,
if-
I'll add you.
Yeah.
Please.
Sorry.
You completed now. When you complete, then I'll add you.
Thank you.
Please,
So
please.
my humble suggestion is this: there was some parliamentary norms. I think in the beginning when the government was respecting the opposition leader, and in the beginning, I mean when the Nehru and all those they were there, even Vajpayee has praised him for whatever the reasons. But coming back to now, when we are talking about the parliamentary norms are gone. You're not respecting even the prime minister. You're not respecting even the president. You're not respecting even the house leader. So these norms are very important, and definitely I agree with my fellow panelist Vandana ji what she has mentioned. I'm forgetting your name, sir.
Dr. Bhatt.
Dr. Bhatt, sorry. So Dr. Bhatt, they both have made very, very crucial, very important point that the way the opposition is totally disabling the parliament. That's not acceptable at all. They are getting paid. In my view, whosoever they are doing, their payment should be cut off from that. They should not be paid even for one day. If they are disrupting, they are not letting it go. And even whosoever is there, that's not acceptable at all.
Okay.
That you are just there. Thank you.
But sorry to say, you have not mentioned about the how the parliamentary are behaving in the Canadian Parliament. Number
Canadian
one,
Parliament is behaving absolutely great. Only one
sir,
thing happened.
sir. My submission is I have been there. How they just cross together one to one, and
Yeah.
how they are angry together. So
Yes.
that I also seen. I've also seen the proceedings of Senate. I've
Yes.
also seen the general parliament. So that
No,
just lively I have
some
seen. So,
disruption here too. It happens.
sir,
Here too it
sir,
happens, but not like
sir,
India.
but sir, not like India is actually this is a matter of concern for the live debate. But I want to add one thing for your information. There is a institution in India that is called the BPST, Bureau of Parliamentary Studies and Training. When the newly elected first timer member of parliament came in the Indian parliament, they have to just take it. They have to had to take in the class. They have to take the class of the with the senior
But they're not
parliamentarians.
taking it seriously.
Sir, that is different issue. I'm what you just you suggested. I'm giving you facts.
Yeah, yeah. You're
There is
mentioning that
there,
there is a system there, but nobody
yes,
follows.
sir. There is system also. There is a committee, the ethics
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah.
No, any part of the world you will
I
find the
understand.
ethics committee in the parliament. This
Mhm.
is a unique in the world. So there is
Yeah.
all system here.
So
All
unique
norms
that
are there.
those people who have formed it, they don't even follow it. So
No, no,
unique.
no. We do have ethics committee too. Don't say that it's
Yes,
not there.
in
It is
Canada
in
too, it
US.
is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, but we are proud of that. We have made first according to the facts,
Great, sir.
whatever the older
I,
democracy. So
I'm with you. I'm with you as long when the parliamentarians they follow it. Honestly, in my
they
opinion, they
should
should be
follow
kicked
it.
out from there.
Alokji, how just you competently see the Spanish parliament and Indian parliament one, and how the position behave in the Spain and other European countries, and just with reference to India, that is a Bharat.
We are all human beings, and I think given the circumstances, all human beings behave in the same manner. Having said that, I have to also add that I have not seen too many uneducated parliamentarians in European Commission or in Spain. Most of the people who come to the parliament, they, on a minimum, they have a graduation. I'm not saying that undergraduates cannot come. That's not the case, but mostly they are lawyers and they are very well educated people. Plus, there is a tradition that the opposition is there. They are going to criticize, and they do criticize, and they can also use, you know, uh, all kind of language, but which is parliamentarian. That is there. But I've never seen, when it comes to the national issues, then they join hands together. They can be, they can have the governing party can have some understanding with the opposition party and says, okay, let's have a meeting outside, and then we come to a minimum, program where we agree on this because it is in favor of our nation, and that's what they do. But opposition for opposition's sake, or anything which the government is doing well, there can be things which they criticize so that it becomes better for the people. But it is never exclusively, just opposition for the opposition's sake. That is not there. Or, not only our parliament, even the press behaves in a very dignified manner. They are, it is, this is very unique to, it's not unique to India that suddenly you see that newspapers are in favor of one party or the other. This is happening all over the world. If I see a person in the metro is carrying a newspaper, just by the look at the newspaper, I can tell you what his political leanings are. This is very clear.
True.
But in spite of that, and Spain being an exception because they've had a civil war based on this, on opposition of views, and there was a dictator a few years ago. But in spite of this, right now I can tell you, the parliamentarian ethics are very high. I'm not saying that they don't have, some kind of corrupt parliamentarians. They are also there. Everything happens because, as I said in the beginning, they are human beings. But apart from that, I have not seen something which is so, how do I put it? I can't even compare equivalent to the Indian system. You're not doing anything like that, which is, and the press is also there. And the reason is because, you can do anything and get away with it. There is no responsibility, or there is nothing which happens which is, you have to be responsible for that. This doesn't have. You wash your hands and you go away. It happens with the press. You can call anybody a thief and go away. But this cannot happen in Europe or in North America or on the rest of the world. So once you say something, you have to substantiate it with the material. And if that is not there, then you are liable to a, prosecution. Now that is serious. And since this is possible, you cannot get away with by saying, no, this was electioneering, or this was the campaign part of it, this was political. And then you go to the court and you say, I'm sorry about this. This I've never seen in last 25 years. And I don't think it ever happens, because if you slur a charge at somebody and it is incorrect, your political career might as well be over.
Okay, thank you, Alok ji. Dr. Bhatt, I had just illustrated the talks, just how we analyze the Canada, Spain, and America, and as well as India. So now, with reference to India, you're sitting in India, you're sitting in your all the countries. So how would just define the role of ethics in parliamentary democracy? And most of the country, including India, have not following the rule of ethics. Rule and role both. What's the reason behind it? I'll take the question from all panelists.
Thank you, Rakesh. Yes,
Please.
interesting question, of course.
Yeah.
Role and ethics, or ethics and role. We have talked about the role of opposition and individuals already. I don't think that
Each and every politician and a
yes,
parliamentarian.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the ethics, of course, that's important, and they are, of course, connected. Without following or obeying the ethics of the parliament, and not only the parliament, I mean, also the social ethics you have and the social responsibilities. Unless you follow them and uphold the laid parliamentarian norms, it's, of course, not parliamentarian anymore. The problem India has, or especially the Indian parliament has, that the people, first of all, from social point of view, as I study that, and if you read Sudhir Kakkar's book, you will find that.
Yeah.
Many people are so emotional that they get raised so quickly without even thinking what they are saying. And they lay also, kind of allegations without procuring the documents, without knowing the truths. And we have seen this in many, cases in Indian parliament.
Many books of Sudhir Kakkar also, how he just analyzed about the Guru Rabindranath Tagore, the son
Right.
of Rabindranath Tagore and others. Yeah.
So, I mean, as Lahad ji said, and Rakesh ji also said it earlier, if any parliamentarian is not following the norms of the constitution, led by the constitution of the parliament, or breaching the rule, ethics says that this person or this MP, member of parliament, should not be allowed to continue. So, but that does not happen in practice. And I'm amazed also that whenever there is a brawl, there is a fight, there is, look what happens. I think the first time I saw one video of Manavta Banerjee tearing the paper, throwing it at some, I think it was Somnath Chatterjee or that time, and no action was taken.
No,
And
that
then,
was nowadays. Her MP, Santanu Hussain in Rajya Sabha, how they torn the paper.
yes.
Before the
But,
chair. Yeah.
But that, this is one thing.
Yeah.
So it means it is actually not only the parliamentarian who is committing this crime, but
And you should also remember the great leader of the country, Rahul Gandhi, also just torn the paper in the parliament. And behaving I don't consider the bill. This is also behavior.
Yes. But I'm saying, well, I don't want to call all the names, but yes, certainly Rahul Gandhi, I have met him a few times, and I think he should quit the politics completely, because
Yeah,
this guy can't do politics at all. So
yeah,
anyway, I leave that point
yeah,
there. But
yeah,
I'm saying that it is not actually not only the parliamentarian who is responsible for this behavior, but also the all parties and the whole structure, and the government seems to be very unable to take any action. They should take action. The second thing is that if somebody does damage to anything, then his salary should be cut. If anybody uses abusive language, he should be dismissed forever. He should not be able to come to parliament, because language is an instrument, and it has immense effect on people's mind, public mind. And the parliamentarian are not there just to play a game, but to be the
Sorry,
role model.
sorry, I intervene your thought. Do you have any such rules for any punishment in the German parliament and German democracy for the parliamentarian?
Well, I think yes, there are rules led by the parliaments or by constitution. There are laws for anybody, like any common person. If anybody
Okay.
does anything like that, I tell you one thing. Our health minister in 2009,
In
she took
Germany.
yes, she took the car and she went to Spain. Maybe Lahad ji also read about that. And it came out, and later on, she wanted to defend herself, but she was thrown out. She had to resign. Is it
Yeah.
happening in India? I mean, I can tell you, any India. I mean,
No,
forget,
this time so many cases had been held.
no,
So
no,
many cases had been. Yeah.
forget the leaders. I mean, the leaders, their families, their relatives, and relatives, and friends. They are misusing this property of the public. The cars are misused at every minute, I think, and not only in India but even outside India. So this is not understandable. In Germany, if you use the governmental property, if you use public property, you have to pay yourself. If you want to take your son
So also,
alone,
sir, in India, also there is rule. There is also what they obey or not. This is different issue. How they maintain on the paper side, they're all correct, but the public side, in public view, we see okay, they are not obeying, they are not maintaining the
but
rules.
said then
But
who
at
is
the paper,
responsible for this? I
responsible
mean,
on both way,
yeah.
public as well the parliamentarian, both. How public responded,
Well,
why public is taking the use, that is also an issue.
I mean, the more, well, it is on the part of the parliamentarian or the person who is misusing is moral.
Who are the policy makers? Whoever concerned, the policy makers also.
Yeah, that the House must take up the issue, and it must be discussed, and then some solution must be found.
There is so many standing committee in the Indian Parliament. I am telling you, I've been covering Parliament since '91, so I can tell you how the parliamentary democracy is going on in India. So there is so many committees, including ethics committee. If
Yeah.
one, I think there on the scheme, there's a long story. I've cut short. The MP local area development scheme. One member of parliament not follow the rules, and one district magistrate of his constituency not follow the rules of the MP. Both way, complaint to the Lok Sabha speaker, action has been taken. Please.
Let me conclude with two
Please,
more points. One another
please,
point.
please.
I think Rakesh ji and somebody, I think from America.
Tiwari ji.
Yes,
Tiwari
you
ji
have
has
raised
raised
that
that
issue.
conclusion. Yeah,
You have
yeah.
raised that issue. That
Yeah.
means if any parliamentarian make any statement in the House and the statement is incorrect, the information is incorrect, he or she must be made responsible for that. And that means, I mean, this must have consequences, because this is really very crucial for decision making and for influencing the public mind. And if
Yeah.
you, for example, the opposition in India make some allegations, and the Supreme Court of India says, well, this allegation is doesn't stand, it's not there, things, the corruption did not happen, but still the person is free, nobody says anything. I must laugh about this. I mean, we laugh in the class. I mean, what is this? What is happening in the Parliament of India?
One thing recently, I'll add you for your just inputs. Recently, the Santanu Sen of TMC, what they make a noise and go into the well and to on the paper in front of the chairman's chair. So he has been suspended from house for the 10 days. That is the punishment.
Yeah, I have seen that clip. He was very violent. I know that. And
Yeah.
but I mean, there are other cases as well, and there you don't see. And you see,
So many member
well,
of
one
parliament
more
thrown
thing.
out with the marshal. So many
No,
member
no.
of
What
parliament thrown out.
Rakesh,
Yeah.
see one thing. Let
Yeah.
me stress this. Underline
Please.
this. Santanu Sen is still a low-profile MP. But what about these other people who even abuse other members of, even the ministers are being abused in the parliament, and unparliamentary language is used. You know, misleading facts are put forth, and many discussions are happening there, which
No.
is
So
and
okay.
shouting.
I just taking the just lead from there. Vandana ji, how just Dr. Bhatt is mentioning how the behaving either in Indian Parliament. Do you have any cases of the misbehaving with the chair in the U.S. Senate and House, Capitol, and any place? Do you have any references, if you remember?
As Alok Ladji was mentioning about, I always say there is a difference between an education and literacy.
Okay.
They have basic qualification level. And I do recall at a given time long ago, there was somebody, it was in India's context only. Uh, he said, I can be, there was one on. He said, I can be a minister tomorrow, but you cannot be a peon tomorrow because for the government job. There was something like, there is a statement on record. I do recall I was little at that very time. So if somebody is doing their duty right, let's talk about the ethics committee. We do have ethics committee here. So from both the parties, because mainly predominantly we have only two political parties, Republicans and Democrats. So the members are from both. So what is their role? The committee is charged with investigating and educating an alleged violation of the House rules or any related states by House members. I live in the state of Illinois, the land of Lincoln. If you Google, you will find we had the youngest ever congressman called Aaron Schock. He's from Illinois. Actually, when Modi ji was chief minister, there was one US delegation which we sent it from here before Modi ji became PM. Uh, so he was one of the congressmen. He had to leave his position on the issue of mileage. He used his car 170,000 miles, and this was used for his personal, but he claimed that money from his budget. He had to leave.
So
He
okay.
was such a promising political career is gone. As Ramji was saying, that we are not seeing any actions to the so-called papus of the house. He's winking. Can you imagine if you're watching it? What kind of message that you want to send? I mean, this is not about any individual. I'm saying when they speak, tearing it apart anywhere in the world where it's happening. So, what kind of, if this is happening to an individual, Rakesh Kumarji, I'm going to ask you this. If anybody in an office is doing this kind of behavior, will he be just asked to go out for 10 days? Don't make a joke of this. He should have been terminated. There should be a suspension forever of that member of parliament. He does
That was
not even
suspended.
know how to conduct.
Suspended, and that is whatever norms are there they
So
have
it was not
adopted.
termination. No, no.
Not termination.
What I'm saying, if I am working for your organization company and I behave as to you being a CEO
Your
in the
voice is
means
cracking.
we are
Yeah.
conducting a, I said if I behave in the same tone how that member of parliament behaved, what would be my future? Tell me. I need to know that. So that is not happening.
Okay.
So this is what happening. They let it go, then the others are also doing it. They have to set a precedence about that.
Okay.
This is not,
Okay.
because if
That,
there has to be
okay.
new laws to
Yeah,
it does, yeah, that's
I got it. Tiwari ji.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, thanks for getting back to me. I agree with Vandana ji
मैंगो
that
शेक
there should be. Hello, can you hear me?
आपको दिया था, मैंने कहा आप आके पी लेना.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Please, please, please.
Okay. So I agree with Vandana ji up to a limit. And I will say that there should be, as you brought this question today, a role of opposition parties and government and politics. This is a very significant point, topic you brought it. But no accountability from the parliamentarians has been ever, put on test, put on task, put on check. This is like, and honestly, let me say, that is destroying democracy in India at every level. Now the TV anchors and the debate organizers, they learn from them too. They think that's the way. That's the way we should debate, where nobody can hear anybody. And now the parliament and the TV, they both are teaching to the younger generation and to the Indian public that this is the way you should debate. That nobody should be able to hear other person. And the misbehaving, when we are talking
Sorry,
about
sir.
it,
Actually, this is a live debate. When the live debate started in 1991, when Sivraj Patil was speaker, as far as concerned in India, I'm telling you, but you are not putting any example from Canada. So I'm just putting the
well,
Indian example.
you want me
So,
to see, I'll give you one example of Canada, one particular
Please.
example of Canada,
Please,
where
please.
a parliamentarian got really mad. He was from Quebec. He was so mad, and he took his chair and went home, like the parliament's chair, which was allotted to him. And later on, he came. He said he wanted to protest in that way. So definitely, that means some kind. And yes, that made news. He has to apologize and do that, all those things. But he wanted to make the point. He said this chair belongs to my constituency, and if you're not going to listen to me, you're not going to let me speak, I'll take my chair and go home. Okay, go to my parliament. So
thanks God the chair in the British Parliament, Westminster, I'm saying
No,
they are
not
all
bit.
are
In
interconnected.
yeah, in
All are
Canadian
nobody can put it.
yeah,
Take it.
yes, absolutely. But the thing is this, that the most important thing is this is a lot of money is getting wasted. People want to watch real discussion on the issues of it. Most of the time is ho halla, is just noises and noises, and the real work doesn't get done. Miss, why are then the question comes, why even we elect the parliamentarians if they don't even do their job? Do we expect the same thing from our doctors? Do we expect the same thing from our players? No, because maybe they are learning from them. They said, you know what, we are not accountable. So this is if they are representing, let me say this, a very straight point, Kumar Rakesh ji, and I hope the parliamentarians of India, they are watching and listening it. If it is said that the parliament is a temple of democracy, so these are the gods of the democracy, and they cannot be called gods for sure. The way they behave, the way they should be protecting
Temple of democracy is
the
different.
law,
God are
behaving
the
in an
people.
utmost
People
model
are
way for the public, because you are representing the people. If my parliamentarian is misbehaving, I will think that too. You know what? If he can behave, I can behave like that too.
I know so many cases that you are not putting the cases of the Canada Parliament. I have so many cases
What
of
do
the
you want me to do?
corrupt Parliament also there.
Sorry, huh?
Corrupt Parliament also in Canada.
Well,
No.
Well, you know what? Can you say it? Can you name it?
Sir, I'll name it to other programs.
You cannot name it. You cannot name it. You're in live debate. You should not. I will urge you not to name it.
Sir, I'll name it. Sir, I'll
Even
name it. I'll give the list.
Yeah, then they have to resign. Then they have to resign. Listen to me. Whenever this kind of question, they have to resign. They are thrown out of the politics from the parliament and all those things.
While talking on the facts.
Yes.
Okay.
So give me facts. It doesn't happen in Canada for sure the way it is happening in India.
Sir, I'm not going in that debate. I will see to
well,
the
I'm
papers.
just mentioning you mentioned about Canada.
We'll see to the paper. We'll discuss with the company history. Anita ji, the role of the ethics, the role of ethics in the vibrant democracy, how it has been maintained, how it should be maintained. with reference to India and
Can
other
you please
countries.
repeat your question, because the voice I am getting a little bit
Role
lower.
role of ethics in vibrant democracy and just for the parliament is how it is important for India and other countries too.
No, no, no. I just want to speak about India only, because the problem is not in education. Have you? Can you please name me the parliamentarian who are less educated? Can you please, Rakesh ji, you are a very serious journalist. Can you please, who the name of that who are not even graduate? Please name me.
You are asking
But
me.
because you don't know the name of those parliamentarians in numbers, because they never speak, they never loud in the parliament. Who are loud in the parliament? Mamta Banerjee, when she was, and what is her qualification? She is
She's a
graduate in
postgraduate.
history, masters in
Postgraduate.
Islamic history, and law graduate. After that, she has done her MBA also. And Osabuddin Owaisi, do you know about the how a scholar he is?
Lawyer, sir, barrister from London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rahul Gandhi,
Rahul
so-called
Gandhi,
degree
the Cambridge failed from the Oxford.
maybe it's a
Uh,
doubted, but
yeah.
degree is with him. Degree is with him. So they are the highly qualified people. When the Sindhya was in Congress, the way he was behaving, we all know how educated and the Doon pass out and the drama,
Anita ji, my
blah blah
question is
blah,
different.
all the
My question is
royal.
not education. My question is ethics. My
That
question
is
is
I'm
ethics.
saying. The question
Yeah.
is not education, because the uneducated, less educated parliamentarian, you will not see they are vocal in the parliament. The question is about the attitude and the attention keener kind of desire.
Due to
People
live
should
debate.
recognize
Yeah.
the eagerness of the recognition has made them mad.
To
This
highlight
is the
themselves. To highlight themselves.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is the main problem. Now we should
Okay.
come to the role of parliament, because they are the representative of this country. I'm not saying they are the representative of this mass, because people always they get fooled by these politicians whenever they come to the mass. Oh my God, you are my such a darling. I will do this for you. I will, and we all know that the demographic graph of India is either it's high or it's low. So, and we have the mass who are in little bit lower economic position. So they trapped in that vada, and after that they feel that again it's a vada faramashi. So many
Okay.
times they have
No,
changed.
no.
Amethi has changed.
Anita,
Amethi is a traditional seat of
Anita
the
ji, my
Congress.
question,
They have
my
changed their
question was
leader,
different.
because I don't want this leader, because he every time he comes
Anita
and
ji, my
true
question is
false.
stick to the ethics, not for the education, not for the role. Actually, role
That
of
is, I'm saying,
ethics.
they are the
Yeah.
representative of this country, and they are representing the country on behalf of the mass of this country. So they should be well behaved. The problem is that they don't want to be. They don't want that I should be
Okay.
disciplined.
Okay.
They
I got
don't
your
want
point.
that I should be sophisticated.
I
They
got your
don't
point.
want I should be
Yeah.
follow the ethics, norms, and the
Okay.
culture of this country. Whenever
Okay.
they
Okay.
speak, it's like that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
such an
Okay.
educated person, and they behave like this.
That, yeah. Okay, I
That's
got
why
it.
in India,
Alok
कि
ji,
politician
Alok ji.
mat banna, kuch bhi ban jana, politician mat
No,
banna.
that is
This
different
is the
question, different topics. That is, but the impact on how the issues raised. Alok, the last take. How just you? Sorry. How just you just? I'm going to wind up. This is the last take yourself. So the role of opposition party, what this should be, how the properly defined on the just on the paper, why they are not behaving properly according to the norms of the parliament practices. What is the reason behind it? This is the impact of society, or just as Anita said, yeah, just Tiwari ji and Dr. Bhatt says, this is a problem of there's a social problem and the erosion of the moral values in society. This is the global phenomenon now. How do you analyze? Very short and brief. 2 minutes, please.
I think it's erosion of the the ethics in the society. Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. So why does a person in India become a parliamentarian? And why does a person become a parliamentarian in Europe? Let's say I limit myself to that. The spirit is to serve the people. In India, the spirit is not to serve the people, but to rule the people. Now, that's a different mindset.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah.
I have been with parliamentarians in Spain, and they were traveling with me in a metro.
Yeah.
I have been with a parliamentarian when one of the persons, he was standing like this.
Sir, our Prime Minister also traveled in the metro first time. Our Prime Minister.
The metro was Kumar Rakesh, first thing you have to do is not keep defending India all the time.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You don't have to keep defending India all the time.
You don't have to.
How Tiwari ji defending Canada? How
No, I'm defending
America,
No, I'm not defending Canada.
Germany, I'll defend India, sir. And how are you defending?
We are not criticizing India. We are criticizing the behavior of the parliamentarians in India.
Absolutely. Yes. Right, sir. Very true.
We are all India lovers. And you get on the defensive on the first thing we say, which is against the parliamentarians.
Defending on the facts, sir. Defending on the facts that I'll always.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the ethic committees could be there, but unfortunately, the parliament in India is of the parliamentarians, for the parliamentarians, and by the parliamentarians.
True. Well said.
I can tell you another very interesting thing. Like, for example, in Europe, to get a pension, you have to at least win 2 elections. If you haven't won 2 elections, you don't get the pension. And the prime minister, the person who was the prime minister, he can just be prime minister twice, like in America, and it is for 4 years. And once he is not in power, he goes back to his job. Now, does this happen in India? I'll ask you certain questions. Now, you keep answering because you are on the defensive mode today. Now, the question is, when the Mulayam Singh Yadav was the chief minister.
Actual mode, sir. I'm not defending mode.
I'm talking about actual facts only. When Mulayam Singh Yadav was the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, we used to have, very flamboyant parties, actors being flown in and all that. Now that he's in opposition, why is it not happening? Because he's not going to spend his money for that. He was spending the public money for this. So when Professor Bhatt says that you take the car and you come to Spain and you're liable for it. For example, in Spain, a very specific thing, there was a referendum done, which was considered illegal by the central government. Today, all these parliamentarians, they are in the prison. Those who are not in the prison, they have to pay the expenses they made for doing something which was not parliamentarian, in the sense it was not allowed by the national parliament and the Supreme Court. Now, this is very important. So education-wise, yes, Owaisi could be or Mamta ji could be, but what is their behavior? I've never ever thought that after voting, even when the referendum was there and the whole political system was very hot, police came in and they were thrashing of the people who were there. Everything was there, which is like in India, but still I have not seen anybody, like a political group going and bashing up the other political group just because you have political differences. And I'm telling you that in 73, Spain had a dictator, a military dictator, which was ruling the country. We are a very vibrant democracy. We don't have to learn democracy, but our parliamentarians have to learn a lot. You guys are there to serve the people. You guys are not there to rule the people. I mean, why I said that in a metro, when Modi ji went on the metro, there was Z security everywhere. I'm telling you, we take the metro normally. And then we did a program in which we had Dandi on one side and there is a similar dance, which they do with the stakes. And one of the guys said, oh, very nice. And suddenly This gentleman said he's a senator. He was himself dancing, and you couldn't even make out that he was a senator right there. And then he walked away to his house.
Now your
We
different
have
question you
jet
are saying.
security even for people who want to separate from India. I mean, it doesn't get into my head. So I hope I'm able to tell you what I'm trying to drive at.
I'm also supporting one.
Now you can be defensive about the Indian
Swedish
Parliament.
Prime Minister shot dead. Swedish Prime Minister shot dead when he coming out from the cinema hall. That is also a fact. How does living the simple normal person, not
This
like
can happen anywhere. I mean, there are killings happening in the classrooms in the United States of America. How does that changes the parliamentarian? It can happen here also. It can happen. Germany, it happened. So it
nice,
can
so
happen
nice of
anywhere.
you. Just you
So
are all the
just
part of the
because
discussion.
one person has been killed because for
I'm
X, Y,
totally
Z
agree
reason,
with
it doesn't mean that you're going to
Alok
spend the
Laharji.
public money for
Yes,
500 odd
Totally agree
parliamentarians.
with the VIP
I don't know
culture
one thing.
should be sabotaged. The VIP
Yeah.
culture should be sabotaged in India. The kind of treatment they are getting, that's what they are feeling that they are the ruler of this country and they can behave
That should go on. That should go on.
whatever manner they want to behave. They can do
Yeah.
whatever they want to do. They are just feeling that I am a Shahanshah. If I won the election, I am a Shahanshah
Wow.
of this area and I can do anything. So either it's
Delhi ka
Modi
Badshah.
or whatever it is, the
Whatever
kind of
say, yeah.
security
The
they are
feeling,
getting
feeling in the
should be
politician,
sabotaged.
they are the above the constitution. Vandana ji, please.
For them, this is a career. Politics is a career.
Should not be career. Yeah.
They come there
Right.
and forever till the retirement kind of thing. Number two,
Yeah.
there should
You're
be
right.
a term limit that you cannot do beyond. Because the people, if you have a retirement age, why can't the politicians have the same? They're also getting pension, right?
The
They are
politician
getting
also,
there must be something in
for
it.
politician also, for
There is a
journalist
limit to
also,
do that.
retirement age should be politician also, journalist also. I think the actors, film worlds also, professor already retired. Sorry.
Salman Khan should retire.
Yeah. Actually, why? Okay, thank you. So nice of you, all of you. Just you participate in the nice debate, and thanks to all of you. Just the role of opposition should be constructive, and VIP culture should be should not be there, and how the role of ethics should be stabilized in the India and other parts of the world. Wherever there is, that's okay, and where there is not, they should learn. Either India learn and other country learn. And how on the basis of the politics, just government and the politics and role of the opposition party should be cordial for the sake of the development for vibrant democracy. Thank you so nice of you participate in the wonderful show of the Global Governance News TV. Please share, like, and subscribe the Global Governance News TV. Thanks to you, and support our Nestle movement should go on. Thank you. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.